we go. Greetings and welcome once again to Roman of the Empire. I am your host, Roman. Tonight we are talking about the crazy ass, weirdly paced, just roller coaster ride of twists and turns and what the fucks that is the 2009 movie Pandorum. I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed this movie, and then watching it again, I was like, I really still enjoy this movie an awful lot. It's in the same vein as Event Horizon. We're doing dark sci-fi. That's our trio of movies this time around. And I really liked it. We're going to talk about some of the similarities between the two movies and where they actually do have some behind-the-scenes tie-ins. But first, let's go around and say hello to everyone. He is my partner on this channel. He is my wingman. He once stopped me from carpet bombing a small fishery in Finland for reasons he has yet to disclose. He is Shield Wall of Dragons. Welcome back, my friend. How are you? I love your avatar. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, this was I saw this movie when it first came out, but I think I rented it way back then. And it was decent enough. It had some good twists and turns. Second watch, it was all right. It's a good flick. You know, it's got some good action and stuff and kind of creepy in places. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my avatar. I've got my spear. I'm in the engine room.
Here, I'm going to blow you up for a second. Had to be a better way to say that, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the dragon.
Yep. Technically, I guess being a dragon, I wouldn't even need the spear. I just kill them all. But
I'm not sure how you'd fit in the ship, frankly, but that's all right. That's okay. We're not here to ask those kind of questions. That's a little inside baseball. Too much for most people to absorb.
Yeah, but I'm happy to be here with this great panel, and looking forward to what everyone has to say. So,
yeah,
thanks for having me on.
He is the scourge of Gotham, the nemesis of the Dark Knight. He is Joker voice. Joker, welcome back, my friend. How are you? I have been meaning to ask, do they do a fish and chips Friday at Arkham, or is it some kind of other dish?
That's Wednesday, and you usually want to avoid that night. I'm just saying.
Fair enough.
But after watching this film, I'm reminded by something that I said in The Killing Joke. There's always madness.
That is true. There's a lot of madness in this movie.
It was delicious.
Can I play with madness?
Okay, Iron Maiden.
I love me some Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden has done everything.
Pretty much.
He is the meme master of the interwebs, using his power for good instead of evil at least 7% of the time. He is Jacob Ironside. Welcome back, my friend. How are you? Did the raccoons enjoy the movie, or was it too much for them?
They ate all the popcorn. I didn't get in the little...
That is unfortunate. They got those hands, man. They got hands.
I know, those little hands. They come out of nowhere.
I've been watching a lot of raccoon videos
I'm looking forward to
on the interwebs.
I like this movie better. Oh, you have?
You like this better than... Is it because they didn't have the demonic element? Or is it just you liked it just better overall?
No, it was just too weird.
But
no, the other one was just too weird.
You know what? as weird as this one
isn't as weird.
yes, that one had a more inexplicable why is everything happening. This one, it was still. I still have some questions, and we can bring that stuff up later. But yeah, it was because there was a lot, and I do have questions. Kind of like what
I did bring memes.
Oh yes,
sweet. Let's take a Jacob. His beard was in hypersleep for 947 years. It woke up and killed 63 people. He is Beard of Liberty. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
I am doing fairly well. As always, thank you for having me here. Looking forward to getting into this. This was a movie. It certainly was. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to have the same opinions as a lot of folks here on the panel, but I'm looking forward to get into it because if it is one thing, it is definitely weird at certain points.
There's nothing wrong with weird, don't.
Nope, not at all.
I feel
I love me some weird. I'm all about the weird. Speaking of weird, yes, Joker. Okay. He is the man who knows all the things about all the things. He is the thad that shouldn't be the unbearable 73. What the fuck is that before? NE?
He's
I don't know
Spaceman.
what is it?
It's a Naruto
Spaceman.
reference.
Oh, motherfucker.
Space man. God damn it, man.
That was it. And I was going to wait to ask the question, because it disrupts the whole thing. But how it ties into Naruto, I'm sure we'll learn.
It does.
Great.
I wish I didn't.
How
are you, Matt? It is good to see you again.
Doing pretty solid, but other than continuing to dwell in the anal rector of New Jersey with
that's a thing.
continuing to get, don't ever here's another one. So I told you, don't ever go to Hamilton Park as a patient. Don't go to Mayo Medical as a patient. Don't ever have to collect temporary disability from the state of New Jersey. They sent me a prepaid card that, with my money, is now trapped on that card, and I cannot access it.
Still, holy shit! Some Nigerian prince is probably freaking running.
I think a Nigerian prince can help me access this money. Yeah. But that being said,
that's
this movie,
horrible.
About this movie, just briefly, there are two, I guess I would say, major flaws with the film that prevent it from being like more than a 2.5 out of 3 for me. One is I don't understand why directors started doing this in fight scenes, but the rapid cut camera switches in fight scenes where like the dude just squared up like this, all of a sudden the camera angle just instantly goes to another angle.
I had a very hard time following all that stuff too.
The Bourne movies are full of that, for example. And the other thing that really irked me about this movie, but otherwise, like if you edit this out, it would make the movie's plot a lot simpler. Why do you have to invent a new space mental disease? Like the guy have just been crazy. I mean, just
what's wrong with being crazy?
No, the crazy isn't the problem. The fact that they had to invent a new kind of crazy.
There's always a new kind of crazy.
And it didn't.
Especially,
you're right. It didn't really matter that much. The crazy mattered, but the why of the crazy was mildly irrelevant.
You have Pandorum.
Especially Ren and Stimpy already did it, like back in the early '90s with Space Madness.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm not. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm probably wrong. Matt is never wrong. Speaking of
I will say one more thing. This movie, I think it was made 3 or 4 years later. This movie in parts reminded me of The Descent.
I can see that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I can totally see that.
Bit, yeah.
Musician, pop culture aficionado, YouTube prostitute, man of the people. He is Sammy the Repeat. Welcome back, Sammy. How are you, my friend?
Good. This was a first time watch for me. I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't. I like dark sci-fi. I like. Is it the greatest movie in the world? No, but this is just a good fun.
But Sammy,
But
Sammy, did it have the animal magnetism of one Albert?
No, sadly, we will never be able to achieve the levels of sexuality that Albert Finney.
Dennis Quaid is close, though.
That is really hard.
he had way different magnetism than Albert Finney. It's Adam and Barbara. It's too bad you were.
This is never getting old.
The viewing of the Wolfen. If you've not seen the Wolfen, don't just save yourself.
Read the book.
So on that,
I would say watch it just for Albert Finney and his coffee scene. I mean, that's.
Oh my god, it's so not good.
I do love me some Albert Finney.
See?
I have to go.
Then you will love the Wolfen and the raw sexual energy of one Albert Finney. And without further ado, despite their better judgment, they return to hang out with us again. Welcome, Adam and Barb. And also, once again, I will apologize that anything is going to happen in the next 2 hours. B-roll stage, our friends. How are you guys aside from dying like Adam is currently?
We're dying with style, though.
Yes,
We look
absolutely.
great.
If you're gonna go out with a bang. I agree. Have some style points added to it.
Raising.
So, Barb and Adam, had you guys seen this movie before?
No.
What did you
No,
think?
I had
What were
never
your
seen it.
First impression kind of stuff.
Go ahead, Babs.
There's no wrong opinion here, except for
thoroughly
possibly Sammy.
I was thoroughly confused. It was a jumbled mess for me. I really
No, accept it.
yeah. It was
Kind of like a multiple choice question.
What the? Yeah,
it's the
or whatever.
NFlex question. There's a right answer and there's an even more right answer. And I don't think I got any of it.
I prefer multiple choice, like my history.
Well, this movie definitely was a multiple choice movie. There was, I think we were talking before in the green room. There were about 5 different turns in this movie that made it like you go down a what the fuck corridor and you're like, whoa, how did I end up here? So
I thought it
brief
was
synopsis of this is in the year 3097, the ship Elysium departs for Earth-like planet Tanis, carrying 60,000 passengers in an attempt to save humanity. 8 years into the 123-year mission, the ship retrieves a transmission from Earth, and that sets in motion a chain of events which are hilarious and horrible all at the same time. So I
do like how anytime someone said Tanis, they went, yes, Tanis, as if like it was like they got like molested in the woods. Tanis.
So let's say hello to the folks out in the chat before we dive into this. Our good friend Frank Yateley is out there. Welcome, sir. The Eraserhead is here. Hello. John Alama. I always thought the cut. I thought the cut always hurt this movie. I don't know. There are actually different cuts apparently out there. I don't really know what it means because I was in the notes. Just like there was supposed to be some more going on, but it never.
I think specifically it's the cutaways and the action, like Matt was talking about.
Oh, she means the cut, the editing.
I think so.
Got it. This also was supposed to be the first movie of a trilogy, which will clearly never happen at this point. So
I would be totally down.
I would, you know what? I would rather watch a trilogy of these movies than those fucking blue savages of Avatar. So I'm just saying, I'm throwing that out there.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, I fucking hate them. Cannoli Sasquatch. I can't read it. Batman wrote it in the hot tub. You know, I'm looking forward to that as well. And that's a no trunks party, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I am not going now.
You better bring your lint roller.
Which one? Even Ransom, good friend of the show. Welcome to the Madhouse, Barbara. The Madhouse. And he's not wrong. He's been with us for a very long time. Ducka, Eraserhead. I think we're about there. Oh, and the mouse. The mouse is in the house, so to speak. Our good friend Squeak a Mouse. Always
than you might think. Beard.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
If Beard starts smiling really
and
big, you know where
that
Squeaky
is
is.
about
Get out of here.
Okay. Different Tanis. So before we get banned from YouTube forever, let's start talking about this movie.
By the way,
last
don't
week
forget
we did
the
Event
memes.
Horizon.
Roman,
The memes. I fuck this up every week.
Yes,
And every
slideshow.
week Jacob reminds me
Yes.
this is our favorite part of the show. So if you're
Really
with us
is.
for the first time, and I do want to say hello to our friends over on YouTube and hello to our friends on Twitter or
Twix.
X, depending on how long
Twix.
you've been there, or Twaddle. This is the part of the show where Jacob shares the memes, and they are usually insulting, mostly to me, but they
No,
are
they're amazing.
fantastic. So let's take a look here. So, oh dear God, brace yourselves.
Again.
How does he do it?
How
How
is
does
this
he do
possible?
it? That absolutely fit. You couldn't
How?
convince me that's not from the movie.
How?
You could not convince me that is not from the movie.
That's insane.
Oh
That
my
is
God,
crazy.
Jacob.
Dude, Hollywood needs to hire Jacob.
They do. Jacob is better at doing this than
Yeah.
Hollywood.
No
Holy
Hollywood.
crap.
Wow.
Jacob was heading for
I look
Bollywood.
good.
Also, brother, yeah, I was gonna say, Roman, you should like grow out your hair like Dennis Quaid. You should have,
I'm growing out my hair right now, but I'm going for more of. I'm trying to grow it for 2 years. I'm going for kind of a Gandalf thing. So we'll see how it goes. Oh,
Oh my God.
that's a really good shot. That's a very nice capture. That's kind of me in the garage every time I come out to do the
Later.
show, and I look under my keyboard.
Yeah,
That's
for
what
that
I'm doing.
Yep.
It looks just like this.
Same.
Even the shadowing on the spider is perfect.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my
Fucking
Lord,
Spider-Man.
Jacob.
Yeah, that little.
Oh my
God. Was creepy.
Oh, that's too good.
That thing
Oh,
popped
buddy.
up on screen, and Babs and I both just started yelling, "Kill it! Kill it! Kill it!"
Burn it with fire.
Jacob, I have to say, I was positive that was gonna be me this week.
Wow.
You never know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen. Oh, I see
Still
our
could
friend,
be, Sammy.
It still could be. You don't know it's not. Tommy is out there. Our good friend
Hey,
Tommy is
Tommy.
out there. Hello,
Hi,
Tommy.
Tommy.
Love Tommy. We got to have you back on soon, actually, my friend. And the Ironside, yeah, it's true. Michael Ironside. Wow, Jacob. Oh my God. Wow.
I totally see that.
Beard and mouse.
Yeah.
Beard and mouse.
She is losing it right now.
No, yeah, Bush has got it. He's like, yeah, you can't tell me otherwise. Oh my God, that Jacob. I swear to God, you gotta make sure you save all these. Our end of the year wrap up this year is going to be fucking.
If you have you seen a fire line? Oh man. These are so
that's
good,
two
Jacob.
inside Mando jokes there, folks. If you're not aware of them, then you need to be hanging out with the show more often because that's fucking fantastic.
If you hadn't
I think
seen this movie and I just showed you these slideshows, I mean, obviously the one with like Squeaky, you could tell, but the ones with Roman in the beginning, you would think, oh, this is from the movie.
Okay,
Totally.
there needs to be like a year-end show of just the best of Jacob Ironside memes.
Well, God knows there's enough material to do that. So
Yes,
I think that is a great idea.
Yeah,
I'd watch that.
Love mom. Dear Lord.
Well, I mean, a wrong tattoo, as the saying goes, cheap tattoos aren't good. Good tattoos aren't cheap.
It says
It's
no
true.
regrets.
Wait a minute. What the?
Wow.
Wow. Wow. My God. I'd ask why, but
You know why.
wow.
It's best not to ask why when it comes to Jacob's work.
It's
Yes.
too much.
Don't
The
question an artist.
hills are alive with the sound of music.
And
Oh. There's Jacob.
There we go.
Yeah.
and Sammy, nice.
Yep.
Oh,
Oddly
God.
enough, that's
And also,
kind of how
thank
my
God it
hair
wasn't
used to look
musical.
before it fell out.
You know, you could just move it up.
You just suffered
Don't do it now.
Pandorum and it
Don't
fell
do it
out.
now.
No,
Don't do it
don't-
now.
Oh,
Oh,
dear
Jacob.
God, that's so sexy. God,
Nah.
God. Fuck.
Now you look like a 1890s like British inspector.
Oh, that's your yes.
Yeah, he's got the mutton
And-
chops.
And again,
Well-
I have to apologize to both Adam and Barbara.
Oh.
So let's.
Hold on, Roman, really quick. I want to give Jacob some props as well. As I showed on my show last night, Jacob, and if you could like put me center camera here. Jacob is also the originator of the logo of my Wednesday
Oh,
night.
sweet! You got new shirts.
Of
Nice.
my Wednesday night show, which are on sale at Mixed Teas. So if you check out my channel, you can grab the link. We have coffee mugs, mouse pads, the original Joker voice shirts, and the Wednesday night is overbooked shirts.
Right on,
Yeah, that's
man.
actually
Nice.
Jacob, look at
sweet.
you.
The color scheme.
I may have to commission you for the Roman of the Empire shirt because I need to actually do shirts.
Yeah, people are
And,
telling
actually,
me. I
and
need
in
to-
a full body
Actually,
suit,
Roman,
which I've been trying to imagine,
Roman,
and it's a
If
little
people
hard.
don't know, I have started trying to start a business with the graphic design. So anything you want done for YouTube or
Roman?
anything like that,
Sure.
T-shirts, anything.
After the show, we'll talk because I know the guys at Mixed Teas.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I did well. We'll talk after the show. I can ramble on for many a moment here. All right, now after Jacob's amazing slideshow, we are going to dive into this movie.
So
The
here's
first few little, I actually, it was funny because there's no sound at the beginning of this movie, and it fucked me up. I was like, why the fuck is there no sound? I'm ripping all my stuff apart, and Mrs. The Empire's like, why do you keep swearing at your computer and hitting things? That's not healthy. But the fact of the matter is there was no sound for like a long time.
Thanks, Marge.
So they go through this timeline, 1969, man, and population, which is important because they like to overpopulate the planet.
which, by the way, is bullshit.
Yeah, it's a bullshit theory. The population theory is bullshit, but that's neither here nor there. 2009, they launched a telescope looking for Earth-like planets. Population's up to almost 7 billion.
Wait, run. They just found 4 Earth-like planets very close to our solar system. Like literally.
What? When?
I just saw it like yesterday pop up one of my feeds. I haven't read it yet, but they have these planetary surveys going on looking for planets.
Yeah, I know they've been looking.
And I saw a dude comment. I have to read the article. For 4 Earth-sized planets, like not like 18 solar systems away, but like relatively close to us. You know.
Wow.
One name.
I am ready to go. Put Elon. I'll send me the application. I'll fill it out. Get me out of here.
And so they mentioned the name of the planet is Tanis, right? Now,
yes.
I didn't think much of that at the time, like because a lot of times we watch these movies or whatever, and like why they pick names or places or whatever. We don't think So remember how at the end they revealed they've been there for 800 years, right? And it took 120.
You can't just do that.
And at the end, it's 120 years to get there, plus 800 years. That's 920 years. Well, in 920 BC, the ruling group of Egypt, the ruling pantheon of Egypt, not pantheon, the ruling family of Egypt, ruled from the city of Tanis.
Oh, which is where Indiana Jones
Also, yeah,
Uh,
with the
yeah.
Ark of the Covenant was hidden.
The
So
Lost
I don't know if they
Creatures.
picked that all on purpose, but a lot of times the
By
writers
the way,
drop stuff in there like that.
I just want to say, by the time it takes into 900 years, Earth would have had made ships that would have made it to the planet before they did.
Well,
saying.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Everybody just hold their thoughts. For the love of God, hold your thoughts. So in 21, how did I get this fucking, whatever the year was I opened with, it was way fucking off, but that's not important. 2174, they launched Elysium. Elysium, of course, being that perfect paradise that the Greeks and Romans dreamed of going to after they died. I love this opening shot an awful lot, and I'm not going to dwell on individual shots so much, but just the shot of Elysium going across the dark screen was a cool kind of things are finally moving in this movie. And going down the hall of Elysium, I thought it was fucking beautiful.
It's a cool shot. The CGI is a little dodgy.
Okay, well, this ship design, clearly this was built in space. This ship could not.
Oh yeah, there's no fucking way otherwise.
Yeah, right.
The bridge looks a bit like Nostromo's bridge, though.
I hate. I don't want to get into the whole we all know the resource thing is BS, but another further thing is space is the solar system alone. Like in the asteroid belt, there's more mineral wealth than in singular asteroids than we've mined in the history of humanity. So the notion that we could deplete resources, I mean,
yeah, right.
I think a lot of people do these science fiction films. Like, you remember the V from the 1980s, where aliens came to get our water, basically. Like, why not just harvest some comets? I think the writers for a lot of science fiction don't actually know science.
Well, there's water on the moon. They could have just gone to the moon and not bothered us at all.
Yeah.
So right here, they're getting the transmission. This is the transmission I talked about in the opening comments. You are the last of us. Blah, blah, blah. Godspeed.
Coming up.
And so they don't know, we don't really get the context of that message. You can kind of glean from it, you're the last of us. But everything goes crazy after this. And this isn't the crew that you see through the rest of the mission for the most part.
Yeah.
And Pandorum is, we'll explain Pandorum really fast. Pandorum is, what do they call it? What is the, there's an official name for the sickness.
It's like cabin fever, right?
Schizophrenia.
It's a psychosis that's supposed to be like, because I looked it up because I was like, why are they calling it this? It's a psychosis of combination of paranoia and delirium combined.
Yes.
Ooh,
it's called destructional syndrome. ODS would have been a better thing to call it instead of Pandorum, but ODS is not a very interesting name for a movie. So that's probably why they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's always madness.
There is. And so we launch into this and we're here. We see this beautiful girl through this early 2000s filter. And then we zip to this guy who's waking up.
No, not Bane.
This is the character's name is Bauer. The actor is Ben Foster.
Who I thought was killing it in this movie.
No, he was good in this film.
No, he was fantastic. The casting in this movie was good. There isn't. So you've got. We'll get to each one. So Ben Foster was in Hell or High Water. If you've never seen it, when we're going to do our modern westerns trilogy, Hell and High Water is going to be one of them. That is one of my favorite modern westerns. Lone Survivor, Hostels, and 30 Days of Night is where you may know him from.
Yes.
He was in the 310 to Yuma, too.
He was in 310 to Yuma.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So he's waking up in his pod. I like this scene. This was like a birthing scene.
Look, it's
almost. It's painful. He's confused. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
It's cold. God, it's cold. Oh, God, cold.
But just
cold,
like Event Horizon, it's another falling hazard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flop out of the tube kind of.
Yeah. At least this time they had enough to put like caution tape down, but still not like a pillow or something.
No, but he pulled himself off. Remember that thing that's on his back mounts him to the wall, so he can't fall down.
Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to dismount to get.
No, there's supposed to be people there meeting them.
Yeah.
The off-going crew is supposed to be there, but these things are opening up at odd intervals. He wasn't supposed to wake up by himself.
Oh, that's right. The power surge is like, doing weird
stuff.
stuff.
Triggering random openings of these pods.
Well, I don't think he was random. I think, unless it's, I think one of the, I don't say shoddy writing, but I think Dennis Quaid got him out on purpose to fix the reactor.
Oh, could have been. Well, but Dennis Quaid. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there in a sec. There are a lot of. You're right, Matt, and there are a lot of questions in this movie that don't have.
Otherwise, you have to assume, for the sake of sheer randomness,
what is going on?
What are there? 1,500, like 18, whatever, 100 people. Like 1,100 left. Sure,
the one guy ship, there's 50,000 people on the ship, out, right? But they have a very limited flight crew. So that's actually a good point, Matt. Talking about that, there are there 8 flight crews? I think they said there were 8 flight crews. I'm not 100% sure on that. So, and they go on 2-year rotations, so that they sleep, they're awake, they sleep, they're awake. But every big chunk of years, you wake up for 2 years.
So you're all going to age 15 years.
Look who's here.
Yes. Yeah, so you're only awake for 15 years of this 100 many years. Oh, Mando, what? Where have you been all my life? Hey, how have you been? What's going on?
I was running around coaching small children, and they decided to put me as the goalie, and I had to dodge all of the soccer balls.
Oh my God. Okay, Mando, what is that shirt you're wearing?
Naruto.
Yes.
Yeah.
God damn it, Mando.
She knew that somehow this movie was going to connect.
It's things like this that are going to bring this situation to a head, my dear.
I forgot that I have a green screen, and I put on a green hat. I'm like, wait a second, you can't see the hat.
Someday we'll get Roman
the hat's actually working out. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's disappearing. No, is it disappearing or is it okay? It's disappearing a little bit.
Oh well, I'll just look like half of my head's gone.
No, I'm actually wearing a green shirt, and I'm still here. At least I think I'm still here. Otherwise, I have no torso, which is fine. So he's figuring out because he's very confused. Flight 005 and some fucking number you don't know. Bauer. He knows who he is.
He's been in there so long, his skin. That's dead.
That's what I thought originally.
That was dead skin over his body. It's like what?
Yeah, it's like some weird layered thing. So what they do is they do let you know that when they cut you're there's like a thing written inside the locker. You're suffering from the extended hypersleep, so you're confused, you're disoriented, that kind of shit. You're going to have memory loss going into this. Yes, Stephen. Yes. Oh, let them get the knives. Get it out of your systems. Get it out of your systems.
These are not handy.
They would have been handy on the ship.
That's
true.
Would
have been.
Yeah.
So he's still going, trying to figure out what's going on. This is Lieutenant Peyton. So the crews apparently are all kind of housed together, the flight crews. One of the pods was empty. Peyton's, he's still in there. That's the lieutenant. That's the guy in charge of his little pod of flight crew. And I think there's only 3 persons on a flight crew, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's like the officer and 2 others.
Yeah, like a navigator.
Yeah,
and
the officer and 2 corporals, right?
Yeah,
which doesn't make sense to me. Again,
I want one of these
shield wall. This is that kind of military rank structure thing that tells me you have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
Well, no, I would speculate like the issue would have been how you have to have food and water and stuff. Well, really, food and water you can recycle, but food you have to. If you're gonna have 3 more people out, you have to have bigger storage of food that'll last 120 years.
So these are a couple of the unanswered questions. Like I said, I don't like that they just make it's a lieutenant and a corporal. That doesn't make sense as far as a flight crew goes. We talked about.
I agree that. I agree the ranks.
That doesn't make any fucking sense at all. It would be 3 officers who are awake on the flight deck. That's who would be there. Yeah. But okay. I love this razor though, and I want one.
Yeah.
It's just like some kind of magical laser clean shave thing.
That looks wonderful.
Yes, Adam.
Right about now is when Babs and I figured out that wasn't Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, you were the from
I can see the mistake.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep, totally see it.
Hi, Mando.
Hello.
Stop it.
Buzzkill.
Okay, so now Lieutenant Peyton gets opened up. He spills out on the floor. He's just as confused as
there's like
as the young
There's
corporal.
like a flickering of the power. and
Yeah.
then his
Yeah. Oh,
plot
yeah.
opens
Yes,
up.
that's important. So for whatever reason that we don't understand, the main drive has become kind of disconnected from the rest of the ship. So you get these power flux things that happen, and you don't know it's going to power on, power off, whatever.
Flux capacitor.
There's cycles to it, and so what it's doing is it's trying to reconnect the reactor to the main system, but so it keeps trying it. But when it, what's that?
I'll say there's a visual clue right here that people, if on second watch, will catch. There's way less of that gunk on Dennis Quaid's character than there is on the other dude when he comes out.
Oh, right, yeah. But because of the because it does that, when it power surges, it causes different things to, doors will open that normally don't, and whatever. But it's been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah, you don't know how long.
Right. Also, the other thing I don't know if we mentioned is when you come out of that hypersleep, you have memory loss, and it takes you a while to get your memory back. But anything that
that's
you
just the drugs, it's fine, it's okay.
anything you muscle memory trained or you really trained on, you retain. So the Corporal Bauer knows everything about the reactor, and he knows how to fix it and everything. He doesn't know anything else, but he remembers that. So they have gaps.
I thought this was a clever bit here, dude.
With the dust?
Well, no, the emergency power.
Oh, I thought you meant
it's a manual power thing. Because they keep everything's dead. He's like, at least I can get this station to work, and it's like a little hand-driven thing.
I thought it was a nice little touch with the dust when he turns the handle to get the panel off. You see like dust fall off of it, which is kind of nice, but it's also a huge clue that panel's been there a lot longer than we are meant to think. So maybe it's a little bit too obvious, too much of a giveaway, but yeah.
So on the bridge, we actually see another one of those cells, Cooper, in the background here.
If you're curious about the science behind the memory loss thing there, so when your short-term memories kind of it's like RAM that resets itself almost every day. Mm-hmm. When you sleep, your memories are processed into long term, and the theory, even with real science, with these sort of like perspective, like hibernation sleeping is, you will not get proper real sleep while you're in them because you'll be too deeply shut down.
So they're trapped on the bridge. They want to get out. They figure someone's got to crawl through the vents to get to because the bridge door won't open. That's not part of what's powered on right now. So they got to figure a way to get to something that will get them off the bridge. They also are realizing that no one else is responding to the radio calls. I thought this was pretty cool because he gets so claustrophobic in here. He's just crawling through the vent, and there's all these tubing and wiring pressing in on him. I thought this was great.
Oh, I would be freaking out.
It made me extremely
Spider. There's always a fucking spider.
Oh yeah, all those rubber tubes and stuff. Yeah, that was weird.
This is the view from under my keyboard before I start a show. Fucking spiders. So he's hearing sounds up above as well. Just kind of different noises. They blame it on ventilation and air and stuff. So Bauer's freaking out here, though. I thought this was done really well, though, for someone who doesn't like tight spaces and he doesn't know how he's supposed to get out. He's not doing great, and then he falls.
And lands on his neck.
Yeah, it was
Jeez.
freaky.
Yeah, he's lucky he
Yeah,
did
this
not
was
break.
freaky.
Yeah,
It's like
thank you.
he starts to notice, wait, I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm in an
flat
angle.
anymore. And then he just bam falls,
Yeah.
breaks his neck, and that's it.
And I want to tell everybody out there who's watching right now, this is the slow part of the movie. There's so much that has happened in this little bit of opening up, but this is the slow part of the movie. And up there is Lieutenant Cooper,
Who looks like he made the same mistake.
Right. He
Yep,
did.
he followed the same path.
He snapped his neck or something.
Yep.
And then, but yeah, how terrible would that be to be stuck with your arms behind you, head down, like with your neck bent over?
No thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Melvin Deeply.
Decomposing body.
Hello, Melvin.
Well, like we all haven't been there. Our good friend from across the pond, Melvin. Hello, sir. Good to see you out there. He's and right now, Peyton's like, Bauer, because all he can do is do this.
Bueller.
Yeah.
Because he can't fucking talk.
And as soon as I got my bearings back, I'm like, will you shut the hell up? I'm dealing with something.
So he ends up in a boot locker. Well, all these boots fall out of it. It's like an upper storage compartment. A lot of boots in there, though. That's kind of weird, right? That struck me as peculiar. Maybe it shouldn't have, but it did. It's like, why are all these fucking boots in here?
Maybe they appreciated Japanese aesthetic and put all their shoes in a convenient locker.
Quality footwear should not be downplayed.
That's Imelda Marcos's locker.
I get that reference.
Wow, we're old.
Yes. So he's got, I think, a Halligan here where he opens up the big locker door going down the passageway. And again, this is the slow part of the movie. Things after this start moving very quickly.
Yeah, by the way,
this when he realized, go.
They do a lot of manual opening of doors, which I find suspicious that humans are strong enough to do that on a ship like this.
There's no way they would have been. There's just no way.
No,
because you're talking hydraulic, probably heavy hydraulics, because you're dealing with space travel. So if you have a bulkhead that's closed, you want it to be airtight in the event that the compartment around it has been compromised.
Yeah, depressurization and all that. Yeah.
I'll tell you.
So
one
he
thing.
sees movements.
One thing I did like very
Yeah.
much that we haven't quite hit yet, I don't think, is the all the crank ups for the electrically powered stuff that were like a emergency radio or whatever.
Yeah.
There's like 3 or 4 different things where you just you wind it up and you have emergency power all of a sudden. I thought that was great.
No, it's smart. I mean, I have one of those radios at home. It's like your just in case kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a smart thing to have.
Yeah.
It just gets enough spark going so you can get things running.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool detail.
So he sees a girl. Who's taking around trying to get into this door because not everything's opening up or working the way it's supposed to.
That's what she said.
And she runs off, and he's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you." And he sees something he thinks is her, and it turns out,
nope,
it's a dead guy hanging in the hallway, missing
guy.
his lower part under the torso, intestines hanging out, mind you. Good effect though, kind of creepy. He doesn't know what's going on, but he looks at this, and this is kind of a giveaway. That's a fucking trap. There are pulleys and wires, and it's like that motherfucker got caught. But while he's gawking, here's something. I'm going to ask a question about this broad later. She kind of swoops in, takes him down really quick, and she was trying to steal his boots. Is what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But then something
Maybe there's a
catches her
whole
eye.
locker back there full of boots.
There's a whole
There's a lot of fucking boots available, chick.
I don't think she's trying to
she
steal
sees
his
blue
boots so
light in the
much as
background.
say his boots are making too much sound.
Oh,
maybe.
Well, because
you're
aren't
looking at it from a
the
different perspective.
later on isn't it stated that they mostly do everything based off sound, right? Okay.
Right.
By the way, that woman, that's Fayara
Yeah.
from Man of Steel. Fayara.
Terrible film.
Oh, I did her. So in this, her name is Nadia.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think she has any edibles available. She's a bioengineer.
Oh, but by the way,
she's
happy
played
birthday,
by-
Nadia.
Oh, she does
Yes,
have
yeah,
edibles.
that is true. Happy birthday,
Grasshoppers.
Nadia.
Yes, happy
she is not
birthday.
feeling well
Happy
today.
birthday.
She is sick today, but happy birthday, dear girl.
Happy birthday, Nadia.
Yeah, she's like way sick today. So
Happy B-Day.
yeah.
Yeah, and
poor
Chris
lady.
got in a car accident today. So when
What?
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
but
Someone
everybody's
has a
fine.
hex bag on their house.
No.
Is he okay?
Yeah, everybody's fine. It's just the car isn't. But
Oh shit.
Oh God.
Drama Llama, yes, she is hot in this movie. Agreed. Wow, that's man. What the
Wow.
fuck's going on in Vegas?
I don't know. I just thought I'd bum everybody out for a second. But yeah, no. She's
Well,
good.
thank you, asshole. Appreciate that.
Job well done, Sammy.
Thank you.
But anyway, so the lady is not a bioengineer. We don't quite know that part yet. We just know it's some weird broad who tried digging boots. Looking at the body, there's more lights, and they pull the body up, and he hears like eating noises, and he runs, and then he kicks his little glow stick aside, so that kind of a distraction. Then he sees this motherfucking thing in the hallway.
Okay,
It's a
so
goblin.
how badly or goodly did they rip off the Reavers from Firefly here?
Kind of, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was
I've
thinking
not
Reavers.
seen
Mix of
Firefly, so I
Reavers and
Oh
and
my
goblins
God,
from
Roman!
Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely.
My
Kick
life.
Roman.
Oh, I thought it was. I was thinking space orcs, but yeah.
Yeah, they were more
Yeah.
space goblin.
It was, to me, it was a combination of the Reavers and going a little bit more obscure, weird TV sci-fi, the Magog from Andromeda.
Okay,
I don't know about the Magog so much.
Okay.
A little bit, mostly Reavers.
yeah, but this is like a
Reavers
psychosis
and
that's
the
induced.
descent
It's not
creatures
just
in
a-
the cave.
But this is where it reminded me of Descent, the way the creatures behaved. Like you said.
I don't know. I couldn't help but think Reavers. I just couldn't help.
Yes, Melvin.
No,
I did know
I
he
thought
was
that too,
on.
but-
I just couldn't be there that week.
Yeah.
Also side note, and I'm not gonna like jump ahead or anything because this didn't happen. I was very worried as this got on that this was gonna turn into an I Am Legend thing, and they're like, no, these are the people. This is what people look like now. And I was like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. That's
Well,
We-
that,
we
that-
could do
that may
better.
even have been true, but as it turns out, it doesn't
Actually, the vibe isn't very different. You're right. So a body falls out as this whatever the fuck it is trying to get to Bauer, and
It's a mutant.
it runs off with the body. Was that Cooper?
I believe so, yeah.
Was-
Yeah.
Did he
that
run
was
back to that
Cooper's
place?
buddy.
Okay.
Yep.
And poor Bauer's like, what the fuck? Yeah, and he's talking to he gets back a hold of Peyton. He's like, there are these fucking things on the ship, dude. I don't know what they are. And it's not good. It's not good.
Also,
So now so now we're back to them talking about when they discovered Tanis.
what would those things
Ah,
be
yes,
for 800
Tanner.
years?
No, yeah, that's one of my questions. We'll get to
Other
we'll get to that when
people
we
in
get to
suits.
when the discovery moment of what the fuck.
Yeah.
So this is like the broadcast of when they discovered Tanis, and that's Bauer in the background. That's his little boy who reminds me of.
No, this is Bauer
No.
when he was a
when
child.
he was a
Yep.
kid. that's
Oh,
his
is he the
parents.
child?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought.
that's his parents.
Nope.
Because they
Oh,
found the
it's-
planet, it
wait.
took them that long to like build the ship and
Right.
figure out how to get there.
Oh,
and then in the
okay.
in one of the scenes we'll see later, there was another ship before that everybody went crazy
Eden.
and shot everybody into space.
I wonder if
gonna-
they got
Yeah.
that little
He's
kid
going
to
to burn
play
his retinas
the
out
mutant-
that
the
close to the
mutant
TV.
That old wives' tale still floats
Oh
around
yeah,
in this
I remember that.
Yeah.
When really you were just blocking the TV.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't actually do anything. So poor Bauer's got to get himself back out there, and he's like, and so they're having the conversation, and Bauer starts having because he remembers he's like, "Where's my wife? Where's your wife?" don't you remember the couples breeding kind of thing? This is, this is what we're supposed to be out here for. And then, so now he wants to go look for his wife, but Peyton has talked him down. He's like, hey, once we get the ship online, we'll be able to find everybody very easily. So save the ship, save our families.
Stay on target.
Mm-hmm.
Which made totally logical sense to me.
No, it did. It was actually, it was good direction.
Oh, and he has to pump this thing to
logic.
get the power on it.
Yeah, he's got to pump it up to get the power up so he can open it up.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's
smart.
detail.
For a while, Peyton was good on that. There's that one part where the guy's freaking out and he's like, remind him of the chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's refreshing. You don't.
Yeah, and then also they use their tattoo. It gets scanned, so it's like a
they know who's got it.
pass, right? So you can access stuff based on your clearance level.
So this is the route that he wants to go to get him to the bridge. But then as he's walking, he understands, hey, get me to the reactor, because that way I can reset it and we can get power back on the ship. He's like, the reactor. And then he's like, you know how to make that happen? He's like, yeah, I know how to do everything with that reactor. So we realize he's the tech engineer. He remembers everything about how to do that, but he still has gaps as far as the rest of his memory goes. So he kind of reroutes him here, because the ship's enormous.
Which I think would actually make sense, that that you go in if this hypersleep, you have a memory loss, the one thing you would want to remember is how to do your job.
That's the only thing you really need to do.
Anything already in long-term memory would be there. It's just your short-term memories, like right before you went into hypersleep and all that. That would be
so. At this point, we're actually talking about what Pandorum is. He's like, he was like, what are the symptoms of Pandorum? He's like, Pandorum, why are you bringing that up? And then he starts talking about the mission with the Eden.
And
where
we go back one Roman, two now. So we've talked about this in multiple sci-fi films. So this is the aesthetic where the ship is basically a giant engine on one end, a stalk, and then, in other words, they didn't do what they did in, say, in Battlestar Galactica or last week's film where they built a giant shell around the rest of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They just went with a neck connecting the usable parts of the ship to the giant engine, basically.
Yep. So that's the Eden.
Why put pipes on the outside? I'm sorry. It looks cool, but really, whatever's in those pipes.
It might be a cooling method.
Pretty important stuff, so maybe shield those. I don't know.
No, it might be a method to cool to
right, like a heat exchanger. It needs to go to the cold of space in order to exchange the heat.
I'm looking at the ones on the left on the neck, though. Like you've just got this carpet of tubes full of important stuff happening.
Well, you still have to vent heat throughout the entire ship.
Yeah. As long as
well,
it's not
I think of it like a Star Trek ship without any skin on it. Because if you could put pretty paneling on the outside of this, it would look like a Star Trek ship or whatever.
Well,
this is basically
it's for aesthetics.
It's just without the pretty stuff.
On a practical level, put shielding around the pipes. I don't know.
Well, that's just made of like space unobtainium, where it's like well, no, I mean it's like a science fiction metal that you can hit with like a nuclear bomb and it doesn't even do anything. React to it.
Well, you know what does propulsion thing? So
you mean like the nuclear reactor they have on board?
No, but so how fast is the ship going? We know it takes 120 some odd years to get to the next planet, but we don't really understand the distance.
I'm going to try to find out where Tanis is supposed to be.
That kind of stuff. No, the reactor I get, but like I said, it's the speed of the ship that I don't understand. Or if the reactor is even like what we're thinking about when we think of nuclear reactor. Remember, like on board Star Trek ships, they have the dilithium crystals and whatever the hell that big flashy thing is that's always on the screen. What do they call their drive?
The warp core.
The warp core. Thank you. Good Lord. But so when that thing shits the bed, I mean that's a reactor essentially as well. But like I said, it's just a matter of speed. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, 0-2. So now we're looking at the Eden when the guy freaks out and he jettisons everyone into space. he throws, what did he say? It was like, was it 15,000?
Those 5
Yeah, it was like a crazy number of.
Which just jettisons all the pods at once.
I think it was like 15,000.
It's kind of a ridiculous function to have built in to a ship, but
why would you do that?
It's a setup for later, so we kind of have to have it.
Even if you were like on a planet surface or something, the way they jettison is they all jettison in a circle. So if the ship had landed or something,
I think they use them as like escape pods also.
Right.
So if there's a problem with the ship, but then there's got to be a ship to come and pick them all up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no engine on them or anything. So
you can spend eternity floating around like a meat popsicle.
Although it's only sucked in by gravity eventually.
So we have the great Norman Reedus making a 2-minute cameo here, because as he's making his way through the ship, he finds another dude. Hey, he's still alive, but it's like, oh fuck, this is a trap.
He'll be back in another movie. He's okay. He plays the same person in everything.
Wakes up. There's a lot of screaming. He's like, what the fuck? And we don't really know how long he's been awake. I don't know if he ever says that. So that's team 6. That's the team after his team.
This is when you first start to get the idea that something's like really wrong. Like, why is this guy after them woken up? That shouldn't have happened at all.
Yeah, everything's out of fucking sync.
Right.
Another side note thing that I appreciated too is the uniform isn't some like fancy futuristic bullshit. Like it's just like a jumpsuit. It's
pretty practical fucking coverall kind
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a flight suit, basically. He starts The Walking Dead the following year. Because this was 2009 and Walking Dead started in 2010.
Wow, but he looked like he aged like 10 years.
I like he does.
Yeah.
So now he's obviously been awake longer, and he knows the crazy fucking whatever those creatures are out there. But we don't get a lot of information out of him. Almost none.
I like all we know is this is where he started his greasy aesthetic.
Show up with that blue light. They have like a blue torch. I like that.
So I don't quite understand how they have the ability to have that. That's one of the big questions. Yeah, the critters have fire, like some kind of blue fire.
It's like a bioluminescence or something. I have no idea how it works.
I think it's
like a flame. So
yeah,
it's
like
just
a
stuff
flame
they've
on the end
scavenged from the ship.
Mm-hmm.
These things don't make sense unless someone is making them.
That's what because they don't seem to have an intelligence. Not I can build shit intelligence.
They've got some kind of intelligence because they know how to fight, and they're clearly building some even makeshift weapons, and they're breeding. So
and they do have some sort of social structure as well.
Mm-hmm. They've reverted back to quote unquote Neanderthal.
Well, it's a primitive tribal mechanism,
So poor Bowers is trying to get the fuck away here.
Right.
Hanging upside down. And then this other person shows up. This is Mon or Man MANH.
And he does not speak a lick of English.
Nope.
Nothing.
Yeah, but he's awesome.
Nor does the actor Kong Lee.
So he comes down, he saves him. He realizes he's not one of them, at least. So he's like, yeah, we got to get the fuck out, because they're having a real hard time communicating. And he's like, I need to get to the reactor. And he seems to understand that. Sure. But what we don't, here's where we have things that kind of fall apart. We don't know who he was before, how long he's been awake. He's in agriculture. We get that, but I don't know why he doesn't fucking speak any English. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Here's one of the things I wonder is that Well, but also since this is a ship that's coming from all around the world, and they obviously would have picked different ethnicities and genetic structures and things like that to kind of repopulate, is that maybe certain rotations of different jobs have just groups of people who are from a certain country that speak a certain language. Maybe it's not all universal because they weren't all supposed to be awake at the same time.
God damn, diversity just ruins everything.
I don't think
one
he's,
problem
he's,
with that. In an emergency situation like this, it would be helpful to speak the same language.
Well,
I don't
Even if
sure.
they had to learn the same language.
Here's what
Yeah,
I
I
think.
was
I
gonna
don't
say
think he
there's-
was supposed to wake up. He was supposed to be awakened when it hit the planet, right? He was only going to be an agriculture worker on
then
the
he-
planet.
probably.
So he was never going to be awake until, like, they might not even wake him up until they've already built, like, the first settlement. Now they need agri workers, right? So they'll bring him out of hypersleep, and then, he'll already have a house built from those housing containers we'll see later. And then, everything's all ready for him, and all he has to do is go out and,
work the fields.
Start doing it. Well, he
Wow.
probably has like
Wow.
a lot of
Interesting.
knowledge in
Right.
how to do things.
Somebody's got to pick the lettuce.
You said it.
That sounds like a
Thank you,
talking
Adam.
point. I
Come
keep
on,
hearing.
by the language he speaks, we know it'd be rice.
But I'll reiterate,
Yeah, it's going to be the
I
rice
am-
fields.
the reason he
So-
doesn't speak English is because the actor barely
Right.
spoke any English.
Right.
He's a
So
martial
now we're
artist
in.
who's done some other parts over the years.
So we can look in the housing container. So he's gone into the housing container section, but we can see there are candles lit here. Someone was here. Someone alive was here doing shit. And he opens up the doors, and now these are basically big Connex containers. I mean, if you've been on any base anywhere in the world, you've seen these fucking things lined up, or on a ship, or in a rail yard. Same kind of thing.
Ooh.
And now the Broad shows up again. Crazy Broad.
It kind of begs the question, why wouldn't there be emergency rations in those containers? But yeah,
I think there are. That's what was spread around. If you look inside the containers, there were like empty packages. To me, it meant that they can get into this stuff. There's like food in there.
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because there's a bunch of like wrappers and stuff on the
Yeah,
floor, like in the
wrappers and
center.
stuff all
Yeah,
over
it's
the
a
floor.
big giant mess.
Yep.
So you could live off the rest of those containers for a long time.
Oh yeah, if you had enough food in there for 60,000 people for let's say they brought 10 years worth of food with them just to get things going. Yeah,
They're
a
Patriot
couple-
meals.
Mhm.
Exactly. A couple of people, you could be born and die before you ran out of food.
Mhm.
Well, they would have to bring a lot of food because
Right.
the end of this film is not very hopeful, considering that they're on a new planet with unedible material there because of the different genetic factor. They would have to adapt themselves over time to the local
Right.
plant food. So they would have to have a 10 or 12 year supply of food while they, not to get into it, a lot of science fiction novels that deal with differently, but like in the Dre Rise of Pern, when they went to Ruckbat, they what they did was they adapted their animals to the local plants and then ate the animals as an intermediary and helped their bodies
Mhm.
adjust to it. You know,
Because as we'll see from this lady here, that was her whole
Yep.
point, was they've got like stored genetic material and seeds and all kinds of stuff to use on this new planet. But yeah,
This scene was good.
They would have had to have
Getting
a lot
into
of
that
food
thing?
stored.
So she was waiting for one of those fucking power cycles to come through, so the door could open for her because she had the handprint to match getting in there. But
Right.
in the meantime, all the fucking monkey creatures are coming, and he does one of those non-lethal blasts, throws
It
them all
was a
back,
pretty-
and
it
then
was a
shut
pretty
the
tense
fucking
scene.
doors. Because
Just-
it's like,
yeah.
what the fuck is she doing? This was interesting though. When you get in here, the entire visual changes. It's this white, clean aesthetic.
Yeah.
it's not coded with
It's
monster.
way different.
In fact,
It looks like a
think I
lab
said,
though.
yeah, I think I said, oh, thank God it's not dark anymore.
No, I would say
it's going to be clean because this is the lab. I assume that like they
Well, it's the
had
same-
this laboratory so they could like test genetic material when they got to the planet and make sure like everything was as far as like genetically, chemically like balanced and stuff.
Yeah, but if you look close, like it's brighter, it's much whiter, but like it's starting to dinge. It's looking dirty. Like it's it's I mean, in juxtaposition of what we've seen for the rest of throughout the
It's
ship,
got
but
that
like when you look
Livland look.
closely at it, it you know, it's not
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
you
they
would
just
imagine.
aged
It's
a
a
lab.
lot like the
Yeah.
Yeah.
alien
So this was a cool
Yes.
infirmary
bit,
and
though.
stuff.
This giant's vault. This is the Ark. These are 3 people.
Those
that
are all genetic samples and stuff
plants
along the
and-
walls there.
Yeah,
That's
from
all
people, plants,
yeah, people, plants, the DNA. The thing is that it has this position,
animals.
this lab in that big dome with all the stuff in it has its own power source, so it's not fluctuating like the rest of the ship is, but it's failing. And she said they already lost 30% of their samples.
Right.
So that's why you see some of the lights are out,
Dark
on the walls
spots.
out there. Yeah, there's
Mhm.
dark spots.
This part I thought she was funny. She's like, "Are you hungry?"
I was so grossed out by because I read that he actually ate. I'm like, bro.
Yep.
There's an art
Yeah,
department for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were gonna. Well, they didn't make him do it. They switched because they were just gonna switch it out for a prop, and he wanted to eat a live bug. He wanted to have the reaction.
No thanks.
Yeah, I would have just.
I couldn't do it
acted that
myself.
out. I would have been
It's
like, I
called
can imagine.
acting.
Yeah, it's called acting. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And just
But
help
yeah,
By the way, there are
eat the bugs.
the exoskeleton of bugs. The human body cannot digest that.
Mhm. And this
So-
whole eating bugs nonsense, the same people who put forth the theory, the premise that the Earth is running out of resources and blah blah blah.
I'm not
Same
eating bugs.
mentality.
Eat the bugs.
There's no reason to eat the bug. So now up on the bridge, Peyton is got some dude dropping out of the freaking ductwork.
Looks like a giant
Again,
structure.
this looks like a birth scene, which I think is well done. It's creepy. It's gross.
I actually
Just
thought
like
it looked like a poop scene.
It's not dissimilar. It's not dissimilar. He's like, what the fuck? So in the meantime, these kids are just hiking away, trying to get down to the reactor. And they start, and there's more pods. So now they're actually where the families are supposed to be in the pods. But most of them are open and empty, which is not a shock given what we've seen so far.
Like, imagine you're just some random person that just woke up and like in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
I am a tax lawyer. What is going on?
Here's the thing about I meant to bring it up before about her character, right? So she's a scientist and all this.
Yep.
And she said she's been awake for 6 months, is what she
yeah,
said.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so
Eventually,
how
yeah.
did she learn to be like all ninja-like and stuff in 6 months?
That's what I was wondering, because she's fighting like a crazy person.
I think
Um,
my
He
theory
downloaded it. That's why.
Well,
YouTube.
Maybe in
that
the future,
too,
all
but
scientists
also
are in.
like when we learn later on about like the genetic material
Oh,
and stuff,
right,
I
the-
imagine she injected herself with that enzyme.
Well, I thought that people already had it in them in the pod. It was
Yeah.
like constantly being injected.
that's
So maybe
what, yeah,
she just
that's what's being.
okay. So she adapted based off of that. They could have made that a
Mhm.
little more clear, I think. Like he should have been like, "Wow, how do you know how to fight like this?" And she could have been like, "Well, I've had to learn to survive, and the adaptive chemicals or whatever drugs have made me adapt this way."
Yeah, that's a good point. And that is one of those. It's like,
Right,
Or
right.
just
Which
say-
is
Instead of just some sort of spontaneous,
which is
I know
actually
kung fu moment.
she mentioned it back in the labs thing.
I know.
That's where
oh, that's right. Yeah, when we're
the
with her
monster
bugs, that's right.
creatures are coming from. Is they're actually settlers that got awakened early, and
Yes.
they were supposed
So
to.
yeah,
adapt to the
let's go
planet,
back. Let's go back to that.
But they were
we'll zip
supposed
through
to
these
adapt
things.
to the planet, but they adapted to the ship instead.
Yes.
And by adapting to the ship, they turned into these things,
Didn't catch that.
so they could roam the halls
Yeah, 'cause
and
they-
like
Yep.
hunt whatever.
So yeah, it's
Now,
it's
okay.
an advanced evolution, effectively.
My question is this though, with just the way they look, and be jumping ahead here, because they were in and around the reactor, do you think that also mutated like their skin and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, probably, and they also
yeah.
And they adapted to dark. I mean, there's a
Right.
lot of things about them that gives it,
Yeah, they're like the Morlocks or whatever from.
they're very much like the Morlocks.
Yeah.
Or the Falmer of the Elder Scrolls universe.
Right. Yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't think hardly anybody on this panel would know what
They're-
Skyrim was.
They're Space Falmer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah,
very
but they wouldn't-
Exactly.
There would have been no radiation affecting them.
So this scene is kind of gross, but we don't. It's one of those ones I don't quite understand because I don't know where all the liquid's coming from, and it doesn't matter. He slips and falls down into this freaking goo, which I assume is like sewage and waste.
Poop.
and it might be all like all the liquid from the store the hypersleep pods kind of go in there.
Oh, it might
You know what I
dump
mean?
it there
Yeah.
because these are all because then he turns the light on. There's all these bones.
Yeah.
So it's like it's
Clean that
human
toilet
waste
bowl for the
down
news.
there.
No, it's
Just
never.
disgusting.
I found Bob.
I don't know if it's ever been asked, but when you're in hypersleep, how do you pee?
That's
You
what
don't
all
have
Probably
to.
there's probably
Yeah,
drainage
it
and
looks
stuff
like-
like
yeah,
that.
Catheterized?
One of
you
the
got like
Klingons from
a catheter and
STD.
like a diaper. Right.
What they do for people in comas, they cath them.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
go back to.
Yeah.
You guys
But
see
you probably
JoJo
wouldn't
Siwa's
even-
in this movie?
What?
JoJo Siwa?
Wow.
You probably wouldn't even
But
pee at
like,
all.
if we look at like the facial structure and like just how they designed these mutants, essentially is what they are. Like, I believe it's based off of like if like the current science at the time, like what our evolutionary path would be in however many years.
If we were,
Well, you
on
can
a
tell.
ship-
You can tell that it's
that's
all.
a question I'm gonna ask at the end of this because that's one of the questions. There are, like I said, there are a lot of questions that I need answered in this movie that don't get answered with the timeline that we have available to us in the movie itself. So
Well, you can-
I do want to
you can
throw
tell
out
they
there. So
adapted to the ship because none of them have noses.
They're probably
these are there are a lot of questions.
Inbred,
So
too.
Christian Alvart is the director of this. Norman Reedus wanted to work with him, which is why he's in that 3-minute scene. Travis Malloy wrote, and the same person who directed did writing as well. This is produced by Paul W.S. Anderson, who directed Event Horizon.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that I thought that was because there were a lot of similar, not same, but similar vibes to me in this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, basically, this film wasn't kind of made until Anderson put his power behind it.
Right. And they didn't actually intend this to be a big movie. And I know it wasn't a big movie in terms of it was a blockbuster. It wasn't very well received. But it was only supposed to be like a $200,000 made in a parking lot kind of movie. It wasn't supposed to have all this. I think the production of this movie is fucking awesome.
To be technical, I think there were 3 different projects. One was intended to be the big screen movie. Another was like Christian Albert wanted to do a small, like you said, like low budget movie or whatever. And then Anderson had a sort of project or whatever. And we all got merged together. It became this. You know what I mean? Like there was some sort of big space colony movie that they wanted to do. You know?
They didn't do it. Like I said, this was supposed to be a trilogy, but clearly that did not happen. So now they're nose deep in this human waste bin. This is a great shot. Look at that. That's disgusting. But remember, there were 60,000 people on the ship. That's a lot of body parts down there.
So those mutants, in theory, had to be ripping people out of those pods and eating them for hundreds of years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they climb out. This is disgusting.
Which also shows a level of intelligence because they didn't just eat everyone at the same time.
Right, but even
Or they didn't have them available at the same time.
60,000 people though, they had to been eating each other. That's the only explanation. They would have gone through everything in 900 years. There ain't no way. Unless the mission time was 900 years, but they didn't pop out of this pod for until 100 ago or something.
Well,
Right,
the
but
original
we don't know exactly how long they were asleep.
Right.
The
We'll
original
get to that
timetable was
one thing.
was 123 years.
Yes.
Yeah, the mission wasn't 800 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine like a lot of those pods probably would have started opening up after about 130 years.
But what I'm saying is that even if they were eating people and it's been, let's say it was 100 and something years after mission start, right? By the time you see what the mission time is at the end of the movie, they would have eaten their way through the population like 10 or 12 fold already.
Well, I don't think they started out eating the population, though. I think that was probably a few generations of mutations.
Right, but what I'm saying is even then, the timeline is too long unless they were growing food.
Well, no. What I think, okay, so I don't think the mutants have been there for 900 years.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think they've only been there for maybe 100 and some, maybe.
Yeah, because there's no way they would have enough food with the people for 900 plus years.
Mm.
Yeah.
Unless they're breeding them like cattle somewhere.
Right. Or they're eating each other and they're just breeding, like crazy, and then there's like two factions fighting or something.
I mean, with the different
rations,
mutation,
too.
like if you look at like the different parts of the ship, like there are different like mutations, and I imagine like the different tribes were probably warring with each other because that's what humans do.
Or somehow they only need to eat like once in a while,
Yeah,
Oh, they
slower
developed so they
metabolism.
don't have to eat that often.
Yeah.
Entirely
like
possible.
that.
This part where they're trying to get away, the Asian guy cuts a cord and opens one of the pods, so it as a distraction.
Oh, I felt so bad for this guy. This was like the worst thing ever. This poor guy's been asleep for.
This was.
Hey, him or me. Sorry.
It's still not okay.
Oh, I felt just so because they rip him out of the pod. He has no idea what's going on, and he's just suddenly got a fucking spear through his head.
Well, at least they killed him before they started eating him alive.
Well,
True. Look at these things, though. It's crazy. I think the creature effect is very good because it's not so overdone, but it's almost more like almost Mad Maxy in the way the creatures are, except they're not quite human anymore.
This shot right here really makes them look like
you can see the same thing in Lord of the Rings
or something. Yeah, exactly. Lord of the Rings. We want some meats.
Yeah, but just like in Lord of the Rings, they're not precisely uniform. Like each one kind of has like an individuality about them, where it was like you can tell they're kind of the same species, but they don't look the same. They're not. It's just not cookie cutter.
Well, you all waiting for it. Sam, you remember
him talking?
Oh no! Here we go.
Sam, you remember in
Oh my God,
Naruto when they were going to Orochimaru's bases where all his experiments were?
Yes,
these things look like that.
They certainly do.
Oh, like I said, I felt bad for that guy. I felt
there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Naruto tie-in.
Because there has to be one each show. This is where things start getting weird with Peyton and Gallo. Gallo is the fellow who's half naked on the floor with the overdeveloped pecs. So he wants to check out. He's trying to read his tattoo. He's like, "What is that?" He's like, "What are you looking at?" They have this weird dynamic.
Most of it.
Yeah, it all comes together, but their dynamic is just very strange. He's asking questions. He doesn't have answers.
Oh, see, I called that immediately.
Oh, I didn't. It took me a minute to get there. Once, and probably, well, we'll get there. And it's when I was like,
not when he found him.
I saw the thing.
Not when he found him, but once they started having like those weirdo exchanges like that, I was like, this has got to be what that is.
So now we're in a different chamber.
Schizophrenia.
And there's candles in here, and they close it up, but there's someone in here.
They call him crazy.
Yeah, this douche pickle.
Who is this guy? And actually, I don't even have a note for his name.
It's Timu Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who it reminded me of. You're right. Timu Forrest Whitaker. So there's a guy, he's a cook. He was a cook, originally supposed to be a cook. but he woke up just like everybody else did, and he's been surviving on the ship for a long time. Now, we don't know what a long time means.
Yeah, he's been
But
doing
it's
some
long
cooking.
enough so he was able to scrawl out a lot of shit on the walls, or it was passed down to him somehow. That I can't even begin to guess how that is.
But yeah, this guy is the vehicle that actually tells you as the viewer what happened.
He's the exposition dump.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so
also,
he's
what
looking
is
at
this
the layer
weird
of
stuff on the wall?
Well, it's like it's this is time. That's what this is on the wall.
Ah.
It's like that developed over a long fucking time. So she's trying to clean herself up, blah blah blah. But we get to the story that he's going to tell.
Although he has the best line in the whole movie, because they're like, "How long have you been here?" And he's like, "What is it, Tuesday?" Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
That was actually a pretty fun line. Yeah.
And so this is funny. So he's trying to sedate the kid because he's like, you're freaking out, man.
Tuesday
you need to
for
calm
him.
down.
It depends on what kind of drugs it is. I'm just saying, sedation is not always a bad thing.
So here's where we go. Talking about the Elysium. And then that's the original flight crew. They get the bad news while this exchange is going on between Peyton and Gallo, which is a nice juxtaposition. They get the news that somehow Earth has been destroyed. And they don't know how that happened. It doesn't really matter. They just know it's gone. So
Yeah,
after that,
it's like it's just
probably came sometime after that.
Yeah, it is physically gone. I just want to drive that home. Like that's what the thing said. Celestial body absent. It has vanished.
Yeah, Earth is no more. Earth has been wiped the fuck out. Who knows how it happened? What it was?
I blame Superman.
He's already destroyed one planet.
I'm just saying.
But that drove the crew crazy. And now, so Peyton and Gallo are having not a dissimilar discussion about what happened. And the guy's saying, yeah, he woke up and he became a god. And he let other people wake up. And then, they didn't want to be where he wanted them to be. So he banished them. And these are the people who then became, feeders on themselves.
Here's one of the things I kind of like this as a concept. If this guy is like third, fourth, fifth generation of people who have been trying to survive on this ship, who stayed human, and not just some guy who woke up and has gone a little bit nuts.
Yeah,
this is the kind of lore that you might expect of people trying to hold on to their history, not just some guy who's gone a little crazy living in like a sewage tank or wherever he is. It's a little much.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the idea. I just think the execution kind of let it down a little bit.
Well, because unless there was someone to teach him what all this stuff meant, and here's where the god went back to sleep. The man who declared himself a god.
Right. He got bored, so he went back to sleep. You're right, Beard. If they would have been like, this guy would have been like a tribal leader and there have been other people.
Yes.
Like, fighting the other guys. And
this
they were
was
like,
passed
had their
on
own,
to me.
Yeah, their own society. He was like a shaman or something, that would have been cool instead of just, one or two guys hanging out.
Oh,
this
by
is
the way,
where
I'm
I
not
knew
eating a
what
fucking
happened.
thing this guy is giving me.
Right now, his uniform, if you look at it, says Peyton. And that's what I was thinking. Oh, maybe he gave him a uniform.
There was a point where I was like, okay, maybe this, you start to get the impression that something's not right.
Oh, so while they're talking down here about the gods and all the bad things that happen, he releases a gas on them.
Mm-hmm.
So then they wake
he
up.
Releases a gas.
Like he went to Taco Bell. And now everything's upside down. And I thought this was great. You get the whole scene upside down. It was well done. I like the filming of this. I have questions about timeline stuff, and we can get to all that at the end.
didn't mind
as
the
far as the
filming.
aesthetic
but
and everything, I really liked it. I thought it looked good. It
I
felt
do-
very consistent.
I do have problems
Aside
with
from
the editing, though.
the
Big
flashbang editing.
Yeah,
See,
but
this is
it's
something.
shot well.
Sorry. But this is something too, and you said that this was meant to be like a trilogy. That's something that they could have hammered out in the second one, where we're seeing civilization rebuild itself, and we could do like a Godfather 2-part thing where we're watching how the ship kind of came into disrepair.
Yeah. As it falls apart and then starts coming back.
Yeah.
Actually, for 900 years, that ship is in remarkably good shape.
Right. I was thinking the same thing.
It's in space, though.
Maybe
Remember,
because-
it's in space.
It's not in space.
It's not.
Remember, it's probably meant to hold up around the kind of the same bullshit, though.
I mean,
You're
there's
right,
a
though.
lot
It's
of
not-
redundancy
actually,
and
you're
stuff
right, though.
built
It's
in,
not
but-
the same.
They say in the movie that, oh, we built it to last. It's still going to have some maintenance issues.
No, and there probably would be some flaws that popped up. You're right. And we'll get to that when we get to that part. So he's looking at making biscuits out of the girl right now. And he's like, hey, motherfucker, the ship's going to blow up in about an hour. I can tell by the reactor alarms. So if you don't get me out of here soon to fix the reactor, you're not going to survive. Going back to that base survival instinct that people have. He's like, all right. So he cuts him down and then lets everybody loose. Yay, everybody's friends. Except for this poor guy, Peyton, up on the bridge.
I'll admit, like most of the way through this movie, I was convinced they just had Dennis Quaid for about a week and he wasn't actually going to factor into the story that much because he's apart from everything else for most of this movie.
But when we talk about like there's 5 different turns in this movie, the Dennis Quaid part I think is really well done, and I do like that that part of the movie is separate from this part of the movie until it all collides. I think that was an interesting thing to do, where you don't make him really a vital character. Oh, there we got the baby again.
Kill it.
They're going
with fire.
Bernie.
Trying to get out of here again.
They let Jason drown.
And he's like, I want to murder the baby.
Kill
the
it.
baby goes up and he starts screaming for Papa.
By the way, I wonder if the little kid who's human or is the one playing the alien, the mutant little kid.
Oh, maybe.
It's actually it is the director's daughter, though. That little weird mutant thing is the director's daughter.
It's actually a girl. Okay.
It's a girl, yeah. It's the director's daughter.
I thought it was Jason Voorhees before he drowned.
No, same aesthetic, very similar. So he's coming to the realization that he had left his family. They aren't there. She was like, dude, you want to go do this shit? Fuck off. He's like, all right, I'm going to fuck off. And he goes and he signs up and goes on the space mission.
Yeah, basically his marriage fell apart and he said, fine, I'll just leave.
Yeah.
Though based on what they were talking, what he thought was going on, I don't know if he would have been compatible for the mission, given that they wanted couples and they were looking at breeding criteria.
Well, he had special skills, though. He had special skills.
All right.
I hope he left with like a banger of a liner, like I hope the fucking planet doesn't blow up while I'm gone.
Also, remember, like he's gonna have special skills like for the reactor, but also they're gonna test every one of these motherfuckers for like mental stability. How long you
Pandorum?
Yeah, you know.
If you notice,
so Peyton,
he leaves to go sign up, but the ship still had like 900 and something days before it launched. So he had time.
It looks like that egg went bad.
Yeah, days before launch, 954 days, and so we move forward to this scene.
Go back one.
This is Peyton's wife. This is Lieutenant Peyton's wife.
That
you
egg
can see
went
the
bad.
cell is dead. Things are bad down here. This is where they got in. They started eating people. So they're arguing amongst themselves about what they should and should not do.
Literally.
And younger fella Gallo, wearing a Peyton uniform, is saying we need to get everybody off the ship. We want to eject. So now Cook guy, who was going to eat them earlier, is now their buddy trying to lead them to the reactor. And this is an interesting thing. This is a person, which I think we now fully understand, is arguing with themselves. It seemed pretty clear at this point to me. It's two halves of her personality. You have Peyton, who is kind of the sane, grounded half, and then Gallo, who is the unhinged half.
Mm-hmm.
He's not wrong about the escape pods.
This is interesting. No, he's not wrong about the escape pods, but we don't know that yet. So they got this bridge they have to get across, which is not stable. And underneath that bridge is a whole hive of sleeping, breeding, whatever the fuck these things are. It is a mutant orgy of fucko.
It's kind of like the scene from I Am Legend or whatever. Where they're all
it is. Yes. Very similar. So they're going across, but then the bridge collapses and he fucking falls down in there. And it's like, oh. But they don't wake up when he falls in there.
Well, he catches himself. He's not on the ground floor yet.
See,
so she's trying to figure out how to get
where
into
I thought another twist was going to be, where that guy who talked about like, oh, there's the guy who fancied himself the god. I thought he still had amnesia and he didn't realize that he was like the guy who created them. That's why he was able to like sneak around them as well as he did. It's just like they really just don't want him because he was just kind of like part of it, kind of like in like Alien Resurrection, where none of the xenomorphs will kind of attack Sigourney Weaver because she's,
got
the funk.
Yeah, she got that funk.
So he puts on the dead skins of them. It's kind of disgusting, but he's trying to blend. It's like Walking Dead. And now the younger Peyton attacks the older Peyton with the gun and puts himself in one of the pods to launch. This is just, it's weird though. Launch, and then launch simulation successful. So it's not a launch. So he thinks he's going to launch himself. He doesn't. Okay. So now he's just trapped on the pod though. While everybody else is trapped down here with this fucking oozy, nasty bullshit orgy of death.
Which is a
kick. But it does look good though.
It looks pretty good.
I thought it was cool. And you got the poor other fella holding up that bridge and he drops it and then they all wake up and everybody's pissed off. And there's 44 seconds left on the clock right now until the fucking reactor goes fucking whammo. So everything's ticking down. I mean, it's a tense sequence. You got the weird, you got to do the pump thing to do the manual override. And then he does it and everything kicks back on. The ship just comes back to life.
Hey, love it.
Oh, hello, love it. Welcome.
Hello, love it.
So they're all trying to get back to the bridge now, though. That's the goal. Get to the bridge. And our good man who saved everybody earlier is trying to fight fucking weird mutant guy. He's doing his best.
See that he had one of those gamer colors.
He doesn't have a weapon, so the bad guy gives him one.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
because it shows some kind of, it does show some level of honor, I guess. He doesn't want to kill him unarmed. It's kind of weird though, right?
Yeah, it is weird. It's
because
I
never get any intelligence off of these creatures other than basic survival tribal bullshit.
Right,
but nothing
land
higher level.
They're just land sharks.
Well, but there are even remote tribes that do have some semblance of intelligence like this.
Well, I mean, anthropology will tell you cannibalistic
What?
peoples in the past have been shown, tribes I should say, preferred to eat like warriors and stuff, thinking it was they'd eat the spirit, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our man sliced open. He did kill
he
him,
gets
but
missed.
now
Kill
you
it.
got little
Kill it.
Shoot on
fucking
a
weird
little bit.
kid.
Kill it.
Kill it. Kill it with fire.
Yeah, it's
What
not
a
good.
way to go.
He's gonna kill it, but he's like, "Oh, it's a kid. What am I gonna do? Kill the kid?" And the kid's like,
Yes.
"Fuck off!" and
Kill
cuts
it.
his fucking throat.
I did not believe for a second that that was an unbelievable scene to me.
Yeah,
Oh, that
because
he
he
didn't
wanted
kill
to
the
kill
kid.
that thing
I would have
from the
locked that little weirdo's
not that
head
he would
right
kill
the
the
fuck
kid,
off.
but that the kid could actually get the jump on him like that. This is a trained
Oh
warrior.
yeah, just based
He would
on
instinctively
goodwill.
react. He would just instinctively react to it.
Yeah, because he's been living down there amongst this bullshit for we don't quite know how long because he doesn't speak fucking English.
And the knife comes straight from in front of him, not even from like below or whatever. Like the kid
No,
pulls
it's,
it out.
it's a forward attack.
Yeah.
So now other Peyton is out of his fucking cell. This is where it fully comes together. The things that you've been thinking were probable. While they're fighting and he's trying to inject him, their two fucking arm tattoos come together as one thing. And you realize he's just fighting with himself. And he injects it, but he ejected himself.
Honestly, this character's story is far more interesting to me than the rest of the story in this. Like I would watch a whole movie of like him being crazy and fighting against himself.
Yeah.
But
maybe that's just me. I know a lot of people love this movie, but you know,
I enjoyed it. I did, but I liked his story as well. It would have been nice to have a bit more, but that's where if this had been a trilogy, getting his story would have been kind of cool.
Yes.
Then this poor guy, the cook who's been alive for a really long time, he doesn't know how long, finally makes it to the bridge. He's like, "Hey, I'm part of the rescue team," and he fucking kills him immediately.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Like,
And the savages are trying to get in.
again straight at the Reavers and Serenity.
Like
Yeah.
why
the
did
door.
he secure the door? That makes no sense that a character who had done that much would not secure that door. You know. Yeah.
And the door shuts on one of them. That's nice. Now we're on the bridge. But this is clearly an old body that's in one of the chairs on the bridge. But this goes back to when Elysium got the message originally. And then everybody freaked out. Then you have Peyton Gallo.
Would a body really? I mean, what would it look like after 900?
Well, it's gonna dry out. Remember, there's not a lot of other elements working on it up here, so it's going to be mummified essentially.
It depends on how sealed that command bridge was.
I don't know why people would freak out.
No, it's the mental break. Go ahead. Oh, this is when he says, "Go ahead, open it up."
I didn't like this.
I don't see why they would go crazy after hearing the Earth disappeared. I mean, they know the Earth is in trouble already.
Oh,
and
this
their
gets
mission
weird.
would still be a go. I don't see why they would.
Right, they were never going back anyway.
Go crazy.
Right.
No, but it's the pressure of knowing that Earth is now gone. That's a thing.
Remember, in theory,
if you haven't seen this, Miss Sparkles, you should have seen this. I agree.
In theory, this ship is going to go to Tanis, right? Establish a colony, and proof of concept, more people might come.
Well, but they can't come because they're all fucking dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Earth is gone.
That's why they would freak out.
Yes. Well, quite honestly, if you're on the Enterprise and you get a mission back, you get the message back that Earth is you are the last of us. Good luck, and then you get the image of Earth exploding afterwards. You're like, fuck. Now, I don't think Kirk would freak out and all that stuff, but these are not those people. So this is cool though. So she opens up the thing, This is when they realize the ship's underwater.
Well, Kirk would just
These
go
are
back
just
in
these
time.
weird
So-
glowing underwater creatures. Oh, that was it. Yeah. Then we go back to that.
This point, from this point on, like once they start having this confrontation, the editing that has been kind of disjointed in some of the action scenes gets a little stylistic and weird.
Yeah.
So they've actually been out for almost 1,000 years. The ship has. This is where, when we get to the end of this, I've got questions about that though. So
Also,
yeah,
I have a
driving.
little bit of an issue, and I don't know enough science about how they build spaceships or submersibles or whatever. But one is designed to keep pressure in, the other one's designed to keep pressure out. And I can't imagine that most spacefaring vessels would fare very well being in any depth below water, like more than like 20 or 30 feet. So I mean, this is a massive ship, so some parts of that ship are pretty far below the level of the water. So I don't know. That's a nitpick there. I know.
Underwater, yeah.
Well, it would have to contain the pressure of the reactor, which would be greater than most oceanic pressures.
Oh,
yeah, potentially.
You could kind of go into this like a deep dive, like I said. There's a lot of there's a lot of aesthetic, I should say, when we talk about. We obviously don't have very many spaceships in real life right now. I don't know what Elon is doing, right? So, when you talk about like spaceships like this, like if we eventually build them, we're in the sort of science fiction / design aesthetic stage of it. And like I said, some are like, build like the Galactica, the gigantic lumps of steel and iron, and like they could take any pressure or whatever just because of the mass, Others are like spindly things, like in 2001 and 2010, that could take no real pressure, but so it's like you said, it's a complicated sort of, did they really think this through? Sometimes the people design the ships in these movies have an entirely different mental idea of what's going on than the people making the movie.
Right. And some ships, like in Star Trek, they have like deflector shields and force fields.
Well, yeah, and this ship, I don't think this ship has any external.
No, I don't think it does either. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that was a little thing. I digress.
Well, what is the movie called? This movie is called Pandorum.
But that's a good question.
2009 Pandorum.
That will something will happen here in a minute that'll really key into what you just asked.
So we'll run through this end sequence pretty quick. So Dennis Quaid's character, who is Gallo Peyton, the split personality, he's getting ready to kill the girl Nadia, who we all love, and Sport over here, Bauer thinks he sees things coming out of the vents, so he's going to kill her, but he sees these guys over here as the immediate threat, so he shoots at one of them, but it makes a crack in the glass, which cracks and cracks and cracks, and everybody's like, mother dick, and water. It opens up because they are under a fucking ocean.
This would have imploded that whole thing, like that one submarine that went down below and just what was that thing?
No, it would have crushed it immediately.
That's what I mean. It had those six people in it, and it had like the little PlayStation controller flying around.
Oh yeah,
like a fucking
it would have that whole thing would have just collapsed in a explosion.
Now the ship is fully powered, right? Why aren't the bulkheads closing?
These are all good questions. So the pod launches out. This is fun. Yes, they struggle. Oh, you take my oxygen and blah blah blah. No one gives a fuck. But then they pop out, and there's a little raft that comes out. It makes itself into a little raft, and they're floating. And you're like, oh my god, what the fuck? And they are on Tanis. But then all the other pods start popping out. I think this is good. It's fun.
Wouldn't people get the bends?
I don't think they're that deep. It doesn't. I don't really know how deep that ship is. Fucking enormous, though.
The people in the pods, right, if the pods are like pressure sealed,
pressurized,
then
they wouldn't. You're right.
It'd be like going down and coming up in a sub.
Yeah,
you'd be fine.
Yeah, you're going from the same pressure to the same pressure.
Right. Now, if you were like free floating out of there, for sure.
But there are a lot of people still left from that. A
lot is relative. A lot is relative.
Well,
it's enough for a breeding population.
Yeah. It's enough. It's enough for at least a small.
That gene pool is shallow. That gene pool is shallow.
It is, but they have
that's more than enough to breathe.
if that gene lab is still viable on the ship.
Oh,
then,
yeah, that's true.
Then they can do other stuff with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need the gene thing and supply to adapt biologically to the planet.
Right. And I imagine, like, even though there is a hull breach, to my understanding,
oh, here we go.
It would shut off certain other parts of the ship. So I imagine, like, especially the scientific wing would be fine.
Yeah, but it's getting back down there. That's going to be a pain. I mean,
well, they are going to get back down there. That's true. Nas, welcome, my friend. And those fucking critters are still on board the ship now,
and they're going to escape.
Well, or are they? So the ship is flooding right now, though. The pods have ejected. And they're independent of the rest of the ship, right? So they got their own little thing. Boom, they're out. Boom, 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 boom. But the ship is flooding. So I don't know what that does to two things. One, the containment unit that's holding all the biological samples, which is enormous, or maybe that can separate on its own. We don't know that either.
I imagine they would have made that ship to where that specific section, with it being so vital, it would seal itself off.
Well, I would think so. Maybe one of the rings that can separate and rise, maybe something like that. But then the rest of the ship is getting flooded, and that's where I think the critters are just going to get killed by that. I think.
Well,
these are unanswered questions.
The reactor getting flooded.
Oh, so you can have a fucking nuclear fucking explosion?
Is that going to go boom, or is that just going to poison the waters with radiation?
Who knows? I don't know the answer to. You're right. So they just poisoned their fucking planet with the reactor from the ship, which wouldn't unintentional because they didn't plan on landing on the fucking planet. That's true. Hello, and we got Nas out there. It's nice. So the questions I don't understand about this movie, the major one, I think, and I think this is one we all have questions about, the adaptivity of the humans within the 1,000-year period becoming wild fucking mutant creatures. And I know they're taking whatever's getting pumped into their systems so they can adapt to the planet, but that seems like a really big, that seems like a 1,000,000-year period of evolution versus a 1,000-year period of evolution to become... Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. We don't know how fast that enzyme actually works. Right. Say the chick that was freed for 6 months was already a ninja.
Yep.
Yeah, 6 month period of time, she gained a brand new set of skills and instincts and mindset. So, that's just 6 months. Imagine that, how much better she would have been if she was awake for a year. And then time, I think it's an exponential growth, to be honest. It's not a 1 plus, it's not 2 plus 2, it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
And if we're gonna give it that, I would say also, considering the number of people, even at 60,000, getting to this new planet, it's entirely possible that because this is kind of basically the magic juice that makes everything happen for these people.
Right.
Is that maybe it actually shortens the gestation period for pregnancy. Maybe you age faster and get into adulthood and things like that. So the population could actually boom. Well, so also, there is a lot there that's unanswered that could be.
It could be like pigs, right? If you take a domesticated pig and you leave it in the wild, within one generation, it's a feral pig with tusks and everything. So it might only have taken 1 or 2 generations for it to go from a normal human into these things with the serum or whatever.
I'm not domesticated.
By the way, Zach's creeping in here at the end. You missed so much, Zach. You've missed so much.
I think them showing us the ship in the credits is kind of them saying that parts of the ship were not flooded out.
Oh, I agree. I think it was just. I think it's just kind of eye candy. That's what I get. Especially because you're looking at the bridge here. The bridge is
reality.
This is gone. This part of the ship is gone.
In reality,
that's just eye candy.
A ship that big would have to be built in space, so going into atmosphere would just totally rip it apart.
Yeah, you're
It would
right,
probably
Jacob.
not
It would
much
have, yeah,
left.
it would have
yeah,
already
it wasn't
crashed.
meant to.
Again, it depends what it's
go
made.
through that.
Yeah, I think there were
Right.
parts that were meant to be separated from the ship,
Yeah.
like the
I
housing
agree.
unit. Like that probably was meant
Yeah,
to
right.
go down. I'm
Mhm.
sure it had equipment, so people had
The other right. The other thing is, if you look
Meant
at the
to go down.
rings, right, they're connected to the thing through these spindles. You got to be able to travel through those. So part of it is out of the water, that upper ring. My thought was that you could get in that ring and then make it to other parts of the ship. I mean, it'd take a while, but you could crawl down those. Or they probably had elevators in.
Well, provided it's not all flooded out, though.
Right.
But
Which I think that probably most of it would be, unless there are bulkheads that drop down to stop that.
I think there are bulkheads. I think like the differing sections of the ring, like we've talked about, like one's probably for housing,
separate.
one's. I think that they were probably built separate, so that way, if one part of a certain part of the ship had a hull breach, it would immediately shut down every other part of it.
Maybe, but I also have to ask, how much of the ship did these guys traverse while they were going through it, and did they remember to close every single door behind them?
I think it would.
Oh.
They were able to get power at the end, so the automatic systems would immediately start shutting off certain sections of the ship.
Yeah, that the computer was still intact and all that. Yeah.
Also, once the reactor kicked back online, we have no idea what the fuck happened. Because remember, so many things were not working that when the reactor kicked back online, it probably did a lot of reset stuff where things probably would have closed.
Mm-hmm.
This is
But for all we know, there were
hypothetical.
anti-mutant robots
I'm filling
that
in a lot of
powered
blanks
up and
bullshit.
killed
Right, they did. They kept mentioning that they could re-enable the security system,
Mhm.
and it would take care of the creatures. Like they'd be able to defend against them. So maybe there were autonomous killbots that walk.
I think
I want there to be killbots. No, I don't. No, Jakob and Tricology.
There's like a squad of Daleks that get powered up. You know?
Right. I think that they would have installed those in case of riots. Like, say, a mass failure of the pods, people wake up, they're all crazy, they're all psycho. The bots would have been there to calm down riots and
I feel attacked now. Crazy and psychos here.
The settlers have Pandorum. Exterminate. Pandorum.
Okay, easy there, Daleks. We need our Daleks on there. Jesus.
No, but I could definitely see a sequel where, like, now the newly established tribe is going against whatever remains of the creatures.
What's left of the fucking creatures.
Yeah, this movie posed a lot of fun questions that could have been answered with a really kick-ass sequel.
And still better than anything the Avatar universe gave to us.
Yeah,
I fucking hate Avatar, and I never saw the sequel because I don't like the Blue Savages, so I don't give a fuck what happens to them.
Oh, you were talking about that Avatar. Okay.
Yeah, look
that
at Jacob.
Avatar, not the Airbender, but the fucking space savages.
Jacob. Really?
Oh, you didn't see this one.
Yeah, you missed that earlier.
Hey, Jacob, I'm going to bring up these slides again. So everybody, if you weren't here at the beginning of the show, I'm going to give you a little treat here at the end. We got a couple minutes. I want to run through these again.
There's some good ones in here, Mando. You're going to love this.
These are Jacob's slides as, his interpretation of us through the movie, and it's always a lot of fun to do that. There we go. Thank you, Jacob. So, God damn it.
Yes.
Again, it's too natural. And actually, the sad thing is the one behind him. Is that younger me? Is that me, Jacob?
Yes,
or is that not me?
That's younger you.
Is that younger me? It is younger me. It looks an awful lot like younger me.
He totally looks like the guy Bauer, though.
I was like, oh my God, it did it. Because that you took that picture. Wow. Younger me. It's fucking spider under my keyboard, man. That's what that is every time. Spider under the keyboard.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
It's my favorite level.
This is also my favorite.
Funny.
It's perfect.
I'm biased to have a different favorite.
Oh, here we go. Bearded Squeaka. Bearded Squeaka.
Mando, you're right there.
I thought you'd like that one.
It's just fucking great. Oh my god. Mando.
Why? Why?
You want to know?
Oh, that one was fucking fantastic. I
Wow.
That's not what mine says, I swear. It's on the right, it's on the correct arm too. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
This really? Oh,
yes.
We're alive.
Or
Or
it
sound
could
of
also
music.
it could have also been and
We'll always eat you.
No eating.
Crazy.
Shit. Musical.
Dude, I look so ready to go, and I have rocking tits. So I am.
You really do, Sammy. You really
You
do.
had a rack there, buddy.
Oh,
I've been working out.
that was quality stuff, Jacob. Oh my god. Thank you for that. Again, thank you for that, because that was that's quality. Yeah, Jacob or Boosh, yes. It's a musical. Musicals are gay. That's the whole point to a musical, because it's gay.
This is Pandorum.
This is
Pandorum.
Pandorum.
This I now again, we're going through our dark trilogy of movies that we're doing right now, and we kind of do themes of our films. We did. What the fuck was the movie we watched last week? Event Horizon. Oh my god! Wow, I dropped that quick. And now Pandorum, and then next week we are doing The Thing, dark horror sci-fi. So,
God, I
like exploring themes.
Nightmares
Now. That's what we're doing this year. We're doing themes in trilogy shows. So I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the fuck out of this, but I did like the tie-ins to Event Horizon. You can see that stuff as far as like production goes. And the fact that it was never meant to be a big movie at all. And again, I know it wasn't received big, but as far as production goes, it's a big movie. This looks better than 90% of the shit that comes out now by a long shot. So,
well, I mean, yes, but I mean, look, I don't hate the movie. I probably need to watch it again, because I've seen a couple people in the chat say that they appreciate it more in the second and third watch, knowing more. You can kind of see things here and there that give you better kind of like concepts of what's going on. But as it is, it felt to me just kind of like a big budget Sci-Fi Channel movie. And I don't really mean that as an insult, because I love myself some Sci-Fi Channel movies, even the really cheap ones. So, I mean, I don't know.
No, I think that's spot on.
Well, that was back when.
No, you're not wrong. Yeah, because they used to make some terrible movies on Sci-Fi. They'd like have a good premise, but the look of the movie and the budget would be like $4. So it was just horrible because of that. But
good.
I mean, can any movie really compete with Sharknado?
No movie can compete with Sharknado or
Sharknado
2, Sharknado or Sharknado 3,
or
Sharknado
or Sharktopus.
Wasn't there one with like they were using chainsaws or something in a tornado? Anyway,
oh Lord,
there was like a Sharktopus film with Debbie Gibson and Tiffany as the stars.
We are never going to review those movies on this channel. I will say that safely and fairly right now. Frankenfish. Was that really a fucking movie?
Yeah, actually, it was Frankenfish.
Oh my god,
Frankenfish!
Wow,
I'm not kidding.
They came out with
it's terrible, but it's fun.
They came out with Sharknado, and people like went so nuts over it because it was so crazy. They really leaned into it, and then came out with all this other nonsense. Yeah.
So love it.
Sharktopus versus
Children of Men is good. I actually like Children of Men a lot. That movie is a really good end of times movie. We might do like an apocalypse trilogy, and that's definitely be one of the movies that we do if once we get to that. We got a lot of year to get through. Children of Men, but the book is still the book is still better. So
the movie
we're gonna wrap
apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah, I don't really like his apocalypse trilogy. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't like Prince of Darkness. I just don't. It's okay. I think it's really.
Then fighting words, Roman.
I know. I'm sorry. We're not going to do John Carpenter's apocalypse trilogy. We're not going to do that. I know. I'm sorry. But we've already covered Escape from New York. Is a separate movie. And we've never done The Thing as this panel. We're doing The Thing next week. So if you haven't been paying attention, the 1982 John Carpenter's The Thing.
Really good.
Oh, that'll be a first time watch for me.
A great movie.
Oh my!
You haven't seen that, Sam?
Oh my God!
I'm totally kidding.
Okay. It's like you're like.
I'm not. I've never seen it.
Sammy.
Beard,
What?
we know
Wait,
that you've
what?
never seen anything.
Gotta
Calm
be.
down.
Exactly. Why are you surprised?
Beard, you've never seen The Thing?
I've seen pieces of it. I've never watched the entire movie.
Actually, can tell me
Treat.
very neither.
Oh my God, that's one of my. I go back and forth between The Thing, 1982, and Blade Runner as my two top favorite films of all time.
The Thing to me is the scariest movie I've ever seen.
There are so many elements that are good in that movie. We will address all of them next week, and I've got more copious notes than I normally do for that one because we've done some deep dives into that movie before. But this would be a great full panel movie, and we have Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House, who is going to be with us next week. And I need to give credit to Gray, because without Gray, we wouldn't have a channel. Gray threw out one night. He was doing coverage of Blade Runner. It was like 10 o'clock at night on a Friday or some fucking thing. And I just happened to be on YouTube, and he's like, "Hey, does anybody want to join us?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah." So I grabbed my fucking iPhone and set it up on a thing, not even a stand. It's like leaning on a Coke can and shit. And we do the show, and that was like one of my first YouTube shows ever with Gray, covering Blade Runner. I was just like, oh man, I want to fucking do this. And so here we are. And so I love Gray anyway. He is such a good host. His comic book show is amazing, and it's just a lot of fun. But out of next week and back into this week, thanks for hanging out with us for this one. Thank you, Adam and Barbara from B-Roll Stage, for hanging out.
Of course.
You guys are good sports.
Anytime.
We are a volatile mess of a panel, but I appreciate hanging out with us.
Have you seen our
I
show?
don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about. There's nothing crazy or weird or odd about the show.
Fire Lion. You are the fire.
It was an accident. It was an accident. It's not my fault that she caught on fire just because I was holding the flamethrower. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Allegedly.
It sells itself, folks. And of course, the lion is the scariest animal ever. So I want to thank.
It is scary to a child.
Mando, you kill me. So I want to thank our panel, including Mando, despite Mando, for being with us again this week. And again, our chat. This was great chat this week. You guys were fucking fantastic. Again, always insulting, mildly offensive, but also informative. And that's what we hope for. So, and again, from our friends across the pond, especially for Tomby and Melvin Deeply, who are on yon side of the pond in the occupied lands of Britain. Thanks for hanging out with us. And for everybody else, thank you as well. If you're watching us on Twitter, X, Twatix, or YouTube, thank you for hanging out with us. And if you watch us next week here at 5 Pacific Standard on Thursday, as we always are, we are going to be doing John Carpenter's 1982, The Thing. So until next time, please I'm just exhausted. Be kind.